So do you know what percentage of Muslims are terrorists?
No, but I know there's a large
So
percentage
very
that are quite
small.
radical.
Very small.
Of course, very
percentage.
small terrorism, but very large. That
So when you
support
say
Sharia.
a lot of
Hey,
them,
do you support Sharia?
do you know what Sharia is?
Yeah, Sharia law.
What is Sharia?
Cut off your hand if you steal.
Wrong.
Wrong?
Wrong.
That's not in
So,
Sharia.
can I do you a favor? I'm a Muslim person. I'm about to explain to you what Islam is.
All right, you
But
go right
need to
ahead,
do me a
sir.
favor. You need to not tell me what my religion is, okay? Sharia is the interpretation, right? It's the act of interpreting something. When you take the Constitution and you're constantly reinterpreting it into law.
Sharia law. Sharia law.
I'm explaining it to you. You don't have to cut me off. That's fine. What I'm saying is the act of a person, taking the Quran or the Hadith, interpreting it and turning it into law. The result is called Sharia law.
Okay.
So when you look at Indonesia, who has Sharia law, and you look at Saudi Arabia, also has Sharia law, they're very, very different. Indonesia elected 2 different female heads of state. In Saudi Arabia, women can't drive. So when we're going to try to talk about sexism in the Islamic world, we need to be critical of the people who are participating in it and not just condemning the billions of people. That's where the bigotry comes in. When you have somebody who says something like Islam is the enemy, quote unquote, would you agree if somebody said Islam hates us?
Yes.
You would.
Yes. I think the majority of the Islamic world
Doesn't that
does.
sound like something that a bigot would say?
I think you're just throwing the word bigot out there. I don't think it has much meaning to
Bigotry
it.
means you take a small anecdotal example and you use it to define.
I'm looking
the-
at Pew
You
Research.
don't have to cut me off. It's fine. Well, I'm
you're-
explaining
you're-
to you Islam. A Muslim. This is an opportunity to learn.
We're having a conversation. I don't want you to explain.
I'm teaching you what Islam is, so you can stop telling
I
people.
don't want your
that
takia. I don't
Muslims-
want your takia.
She's an expert in Islam. I'm trying to help you. I'm really trying to help educate you and your audience. Muslims make up over 2.5 billion people. And of course, there's a war-torn area where we all need to be concerned about. ISIS, they're the devil incarnate.
Okay.
They're killing more Muslims than anyone else.
Yes.
You know who's killing ISIS? Muslims. They're being fought by all fronts by Muslims. So when you have people say the problem is Islam, the identifying factor that you can use to contribute to your conversation or your targets and trying to figure out who the bad guys are, is that they're all just Muslims, or most, like you just said. That what does that make you? A bigot, right?
No, I don't think it makes me a bigot at all.
That's not what bigotry is. Like, how do you define bigotry?
Yeah.
How would I define bigotry?
What is the definition of bigotry?
I think having hate without any reason or fact behind
It
it.
doesn't have to be hate. It doesn't have to be hate. That's wrong. It's
Okay.
not
You say
violence
that a
either.
certain group of people is lazy, just
Yeah.
a blanket statement like that, and it's not motivated by hate necessarily, but it
I
is
don't
a
think- I
bigoted.
don't-
It is a
I
bigoted
don't
thing
think
to
I
say.
don't think it's bigotry if it's backed by facts. If I'm looking at Pew Research and I'm saying I'm afraid of,
Pew Research
for example,
studies said that most
And you don't
Muslims hate the
even
United
know what
States.
Sharia was. You understand? So I'm trying to explain it to you so you can stop being so bigoted.
Which Pew Research study did you read? that
okay, the
said
Pew
that?
Research on Muslims and Muslims that
Which
live in
study?
Europe
I'm
and in the
familiar
Middle
with
East and
Pew
across the
Research.
world. Okay, Pew Research on Muslims and their thoughts.
Like what
and
study? I can
Muslims
What
and
study?
their
Okay, I
thoughts?
can't bring
You
it
just said
up
that
right
there's
now.
all these different kinds of people in that building with all these different ideas.
And there are Muslims that
And you
support
just
Trump
said
too.
The Muslim thought. I'm a
Yes.
Muslim person,
Yes.
and I want to know what the Muslim
And guess
thought
what? In the
is.
studies, the thoughts varied.
Like which ones?
Okay.
Which
So, for
studies?
example, it's like, do you think women should have to be covered up or not? And in a lot of countries, it was from 80
in
to
a lot of
90%.
countries-
In a
Now
lot
we
of
went
countries,
to
it was from 80
nations,
to 90%.
religion. You know, understand the difference
If you
of
go-
No,
faith?
but
If you
it's
go-
only reviewing Muslims.
If you literally go to Vatican
What?
City, it has been a teaching in the Catholic Church for a long time. In certain places, women have to wear head coverings in order
Yes,
to show
and if you
respect.
go to Catholic areas, you see tons of women covered up. That's just not true in the real world.
No, it's true in Vatican City if you've ever been there. I'm a Catholic. I'm telling you that that is true. My aunt
You
is
can
a
tell
nun.
me it's true, but I can view and
Well,
look in
tell
the
me-
real world
in
and
the
see
same
it's
way,
very
Tell
different.
me which Pew study you read that said that Muslims.
You can look it up. Look up Pew Research
I've heard
Muslims
it.
and
No,
Sharia.
just to look it up.
Okay, well, what do you want me to do? Bring out my phone right now and show it to you?
If
Dude.
you're going to defame the Muslim faith, I'd expect you at least have citations.
Right.
I don't think
What do you
that's
think?
too
I'm
much
going to
ask.
bring out my
You're a
citations right
journalist.
here?
I have citations whenever I say something.
Right.
Sorry, dude, if
We
you
both
want to
work
argue.
for Slate.
Okay, you both work for
We work
Slate.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, okay,
And
this
whenever
is,
we're
this is
asked
special.
to
But I'm not approaching
Make
you as a,
claims.
as a,
Yeah.
as
Okay,
a
but-
journalist.
right.
I'm approaching you as a Muslim
What do you-
person.
what do you want me to
a
do?
Muslim
Bring out
American
links for
who's
you right now?
patriotic,
Was
who
that-
loves
was
his
that a
country.
dramatic thing to ask for journalists to make claims to
No,
provide
I
proof
think
of
they
those
should be
claims?
backed
Was
up,
that-
but I can't bring up the Pew Research study right now. I
You can
can't.
just say-
I don't have a computer
If
on
I
me,
said
guys.
that CNN reported yesterday that the Earth was flat without any sort of citation, that's
Okay, well,
that's
I want
exact
you
same-
to cite-
That's literally the exact same thing that you've.
All right,
you
all right,
just said
guys.
Pew Research- you
All right,
just
guys,
said
right
Pew
now.
Research said that, the sky is purple. Like what?
Yeah.
Provide me with.
Okay, well, you're
citations.
claiming that the Catholics and Vatican want women to cover up. Give me citations right now. I want your studies right now, or I don't believe a thing you say. You're a bad journalist.
Well, I mean, I'm.
No, citations right now. No,
I'm
citations.
making as valid a claim as you.
No
are.
citations
You
at
also-
them. No citations.
My citation is
don't
that
prove your
I
point
am
either.
a Catholic.
I'm-
I can.
I want your citations,
you
dude.
said you said earlier
In response
that
to you
people.
asking
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You said earlier, for instance, that in Sharia law.
That's what I'm saying. He can't get it right now because we don't have a computer.
You said earlier, Sharia law says that women have to have or whatever. Have
she
people.
said that Sharia law
makes
people
your
hands get
In
cut
many
Hands cut off,
countries,
right?
in many
Which is insane.
countries,
I can
yes,
tell you
that
right
does
now
happen.
that
Are you saying that doesn't happen in
wait a
many
minute.
countries?
I'm saying
course
that
it
it's
happens.
not
Of
the
course it happens.
principle.
Of course.
Thank
it
you.
does. No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. I'm sure you're aware. You're a Christian, correct? I assume.
I'm searching.
I assume then you're familiar with the Old Testament and all of the rules that were laid down back then about people being stoned
There's
for
been a
adultery.
Reformation.
Ah, yes, and in many Islamic countries, there's also been Reformation. You just told you about Indonesia. I can tell you about the United Arab Emirates. If Saudi Arabia is a problem, you should tell that to Fox News, whose major backers are Saudi nationals.
I know that.
Yeah, so, we have all these conflicting double standards about when, we talk about Islam and when we talk about
I have a problem with anyone who's backed by Saudi Arabia.
Well, that's good to hear. You should also have a problem then with people who claim to be conservatives and who claim to be against Islam, and claim to be against unreformed Islam, taking money from those people.
I agree.
You should
I do.
you should also
I do.
have a problem
Absolutely.
With blanketly, making generalized statements about Islam when there are, as you said, billions of Muslims around the world. Some of them are reformed, some of them are not. There's ISIS, there's Turkey, right? Turkey's a highly modern country. If you look at the Ottoman Empire, it was one of the most advanced civilizations.
Not anymore with Erdogan in power.
Well, no, I agree. The Erdogan is very, very bad, but it's still a modern country. You cannot make blanket statements. I could point to Christian
No,
civilization
whenever we
sub-Saharan
whenever we
Africa
speak
and
about
say
this, we are saying a large group, a large group.
You said
No one
most.
is ever
You didn't
saying
say
all.
large group.
Yes,
You
I
said
actually
most.
think most in the world.
Based on-
I'd suggest watching a video by Ben Shapiro called "The Myth of the Tiny Muslim
Ben
Majority"
Shapiro
or the Tiny
is-
Muslim
I'm a
Minority.
huge fan of Ben Shapiro. Believe me.
You should check out his video on that. I do have to go because my security is quite. I quite liked meeting you. I'm sorry, I'm freezing my butt off right now.
I think
Do
you should
have a card?
read
Let's talk where we
Leviticus.
can actually.
Yeah, sure.
If you have a
exchange
problem with
facts here.
people being stoned, if you have a problem with people having
Yeah,
their hands
I
cut
have
off,
a problem with
you
that
have a
too.
problem with
Good, I like
draconian
that.
It's
law.
not even a good
I think
thing.
you should
I'm
open up the
offended by
Bible
you
one of these
being
days.
surprised by that, honestly.
I've got good friends who are Muslim, and I talk to them.
I
about this
doubt
all the
it.
time.
Because
I
they're
think it's
Muslims,
awesome. I
ISIS,
think it
and
is
that's a
awesome.
shame.
I think it's
I
hey,
think
listen,
it's
listen,
no,
listen.
it's
Spend
like-
spend 1 second and listen. I mean, you said you wanted
There's
to have a
a reason-
conversation.
there's
You
a
said you
reason-
wanted to have a conversation, but listen for a minute. I think it is awesome that Muslims are fighting ISIS. I think that is great.
But you wouldn't have them here.
However, if those Muslims hold views that are radical in the sense that they do not align with Western values, for example, they want women covered up in hijabs, I don't want them in the West. If they want Sharia law in the sense of where it's applied in places like Saudi Arabia, I don't want them in the West. I think it's great that they're fighting ISIS, but no, I don't want them changing the base culture of the
This
West.
construction of reality in which you are sort of suggesting that liberals like myself want ISIS to come in here and make women wear.
No one's saying ISIS. I'm talking about.
Well, you're saying what you're suggesting here is that we have a worldview in which we would like to see women covered up because we like Muslims and because we respect them. I think that's a distortion.
I'm not saying you
That is-
specifically.
well, no, but that's what you are
No,
presenting as the
that's
liberal
not.
viewpoint. You're
That's
saying that
not
we
what
don't
I'm
care
saying.
about women. You're saying that we don't care about kids.
You
You're
keep
that
saying we.
want-
Stop generalizing.
You're saying
Or
that-
even as Muslims, my
Now we
wife
should
doesn't
stop
cover her
generalizing,
hair.
okay.
Well,
You're
yes.
saying that
What
I
you're
want to
saying.
cover my
Yes,
wife's hair.
I'm saying a majority, and I think you're a minority.
I'm
I
a
think
minority.
I think you're a
A
minority.
minority of what?
If you're Muslim, are you Muslim?
I told you I was a Catholic.
Catholic. Sorry,
Should-
sorry. You keep
journalism
saying
should
you
keep
keep
up
saying
with
you
the
keep
facts.
saying we. You keep saying we when you're talking about Muslims, which is
I'm
far more
saying
liberal.
I'm
said
talking about
liberals.
liberals.
Oh, liberals. Okay.
What I'm saying is that you are sort of constructing a worldview in which you're presenting liberals as people who want to bring in Muslims to change American culture, to make
Or
women-
Muslims that want to do
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I think that
No,
it's
I think a lot of them
completely
have-
insane for you to suggest that like because
it's slanderous as
we are careful about the way we talk about Islam and we're careful about making distinctions between Muslim countries, we are somehow creating a situation in which the United States is going to be threatened because we're welcoming to Muslims
Okay.
and we think that we should be careful
No,
about the way
let
we
me.
talk about
I
them and
think
make
you've
Or that the
distinctions.
Muslim population that's here is a
misrepresented. You've
threat.
misrepresented my argument.
What is your
I don't think liberals want the core of the West to be changed to a Muslim country. I don't think that. I think, in fact, a lot of them have quite kind hearts and they want the world to be
We're
a
very-
better,
very
open,
heartened
loving
by that.
place. But I think
Went
that
from
there's.
most of them are terrorists.
Listen,
to
I
a
never
lot of
said
have
most
good
of them are
hearts.
terrorists. This is slanderous, as you were
Oh my
saying, is a
God.
bad thing
What
earlier.
do you think Sharia law is?
What do I
We already
think Sharia law is?
answered
It's,
that.
we've already talked about this. We've already
We're
talked
live,
about this.
we're live.
1 minute. I want to talk to this gentleman.
You can answer
I
the
want to talk to
question.
this
It's like
gentleman.
I actually am curious.
Sure.
We have
No.
really large
But I
audiences
want to
watching
finish.
right
I
now.
want to
What is
finish. I
Sharia?
want to finish what I was saying.
Is this a panel or is it just like?
We were having a conversation and you entered.
Why don't you ask her about Leviticus?
I want to finish. I want to.
You trying to get attention. Clearly, you're.
Let me finish my sentence. I think that liberals are quite loving and quite kind in a lot of places. However, there is an ignorance attached to it, unfortunately, because they don't realize that when Muslims en masse come into the country without assimilation.
Have you ever been to a Muslim country?
Yeah. I've been in, well, no, not Muslim countries, but Muslim areas.
Watch him.
Okay.
I was a terrorist all along.
I knew it.
She
I looked
figured
at
it
you and I
out.
was
She
like,
was right.
Okay. Have you ever been to an area like Molenbeek? I've been to Molenbeek. I've walked through there.
I worked in Libya, so try me.
Okay, well, I'm talking about Molenbeek right now.
Well, where you guys?
Where
see
okay,
ISIS
in
central.
Molenbeek, it's an area that has completely changed culturally. You can no longer recognize it as a part of Belgium. And when you talk to the people there, they tell you they want women to cover up. They tell you they want Sharia law in the more radical sense. And yes, I did go and interview people there, and the statistics show that they have radical views, and the whole fabric of the area is
You're going to
changing.
use that area
and I
to
am
describe the entire characteristic of a billion,
I never
two
said
and a
that,
half
guys.
billion people.
I
religion.
have to
We have
dismiss
to
my
go.
security, unfortunately, so I do have to go.
Thank you for listening, and I really please.
Cheers. I've got your card. We're going to
Yeah.
talk online. It'll be great.
But please do me a favor, and when someone from a different culture or a different faith tries to explain to you what their beliefs and their faiths are,
But the
listen,
thing is, yes,
because it hurts.
But you
you know?
guys have different views. You have different views amongst you. If you enjoyed that video and want to see more from the Rebel Media, then be sure to hit the subscribe button below.